Guys, welcome back to another video, and in this one I'm going to teach you a pretty simple trick on making these exclamation points for NPCs to mark out quests or whatever you want. And it's very easy, being that it's only a rectangle and a square, and you can do it for above a sign or above an NPC, pretty much whatever you want. So you just need two spaces for whatever it is, and depending on the height of the thing you're putting it above, you're going to make it jump up. For NPCs, you got to account for one block for the NPC block, and then two spaces for the height. But for signs, it's just the block and then one sign for the height. So starting from complete scratch, for the duration, just because we're testing it, I'm going to set it as 1, that way we don't have to wait for the whole 8 seconds maximum or whatever. And for the frequency, we're just going to keep it at 1 for now, that way it stays there and we can see when it moves and whatnot. Now for the offset, it puts it in the middle of your particle block. So the one we're at, when we move up for 1, it's going to be where the NPC block was. So one more will be the NPC's lower half, the top half, so we're probably going to need a +4, depending on, this will be right in the middle of the block above the NPC, so you might need to alter it by 0.5 or down by 0.5 depending on which part of the exclamation point this is. And because this is going to be the lower half, which I'm going to start with that, it's going to be 3.5 for now. We might move it down even further, but we'll just go for that as a safe point. The variance is going to be 0 because I don't really care if it moves or not. You could change that. For the velocity, you can put that, if you want it to move up, you can add velocity. If you want it to move sideways, whatever, I'm going to keep that at 0 as well. Variance, don't need that. The gravity, if you want it to drop, which you can pair with velocity going up by 1, then add some gravity so it looks like it's bouncing if you want. I've seen that around, but I'm just keeping this pretty simple. For rotation, I'm going to actually add rotation. So I'm going to make the exclamation point do 1 full circle by the time in its life before the particle deletes, which is pi 3.14. Start size, that one's going to decide how big you want it. You obviously don't want 1, 1, 1 because it's going to be 1 block wide. So a good starting point would be 1/4 of a block, which would be 0.25 for each coordinate or each value. And that'll make it 1/4 of a block, and then the other one, the top part, that can be a lot larger. The end size, you can just put that as 1 because it's a multiplier, so it's going to stay that size. I don't need it to be affected by the wind, and then the color doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and leave it black because you guys can pick your own colors. Now for proximity, that's for if the player walks away or not, so I don't need that. And I want it to be on all the time, so I'm not going to have it need power. When you close it, you can get a little example that for some reason isn't appearing. I'm not sure why. It might be my other particles that are lagging the game a bit. Oh, I think you actually have to set a color, so I'm going to change that to 255 alpha, and that's going to make it black instead of transparent. There we go. And I don't want it to look like he's got a spinny hat, so I'm just going to raise that up slightly. So instead of 3.5, I'll go 3.75. And it's right above his head. Now, a trick I like to do, because it's pretty much the same thing except for just taller, I'm going to copy everything, paste it down right underneath. So from what I have here, I've got one in the middle of him, and to put the exact same shape, I just add to the height by 1. And because it's going to be slightly higher, I'm going to go ahead and add 1 more. So I'm going to make that 5. And that way when I change the height, which in this case I want it to be the same width, so I'm just going to put this as maybe 0.75, or whoops, yeah, 0.75. Once I do that, it should be the exclamation point I'm looking for, and then it's just all a matter of going back in and taking a look and debugging. And I don't want it to be that much of a space between it, so I might drop this to 5.5, test it, and that looks about good right there. But from there you can change the color. Like I said, you can add a velocity of 1 to make it go up, and then the gravity pulls it back down over its life. You just do the same changes for both, and they kind of bounce singularly. And that's pretty much it, how to make an exclamation point. It's very, very simple. If you wanted to get really creative, you can make a question mark, just anything like that to get you all taken care of with the quest markers. But anyway, that's it. Hopefully you guys have learned something about this and can get better at particles, and I'll see you in the next video.